Alright guys, Kazeros is coming out on August 20th. It's just around the corner. A little over 2 weeks left. And there's going to be a top 10 race this time as well. And it's gonna have rewards like titles and other vanity rewards. And with this being the second race, the first race, Theamine, didn't particularly release with fair class balance, right guys? Some examples would be spec classes not being able to spacebar dodge the Albion patterns in Gate 3, and Theamine generating too much of his own identity when tanking classes tank his attacks. So Smallgate ended up doing a balance patch pretty soon after the race released, actually towards the end of the race. But regardless, players became very disappointed either with their class or Smallgate for making certain classes more preferred, which also means people gatekept some classes when forming a party. And moving on, the 2025 summer Loan Q&A session, the topic about balance patch was brought up, and out of a lot of things the director said, he mentioned that there's going to be a balance patch before Kazeros raid, and it's gonna aim for fairness in race as much as possible. And that the balance patch will revolve around top-end users who will participate in the race. So this meant two things to me. Kazeros raid will have a tight DPS check, and that they won't be looking for average performers at data for this balance patch. This got me kind of curious, and I did a little digging around in the famous, the ultimate Yuwu Owo website. Big shout out to the website. I love that website. Thank you guys. And I made some data of my own. I set up a range for combat power to most reasonable degree as possible in my standards. And I tried many different ranges of combat power, but doesn't change much. Also, I wanted data from somewhat invested characters because Smallgate did say they will look at end spec users. But at the same time, I didn't want to go overboard because all these raids and data becomes unreliable when players are too overgeared. Right. So I sorted by Q3 in the website, which means top quarter DPS. But I don't know, it looks more average to me. But it's the closest we can get to. And some of you might tell me I should have excluded Mortem Gate 3. Whoops, spoilers. Mortem Gate 3 because it's basically a dummy raid where you can just do parses. But I included it because I think it's a class's potential and it should count as well. With that said, let's dive in. The bottom 8. Oh, let me explain this too. So I looked at Act 2, Brogate 1, and Combat Power, 2000 to 2300. I know it's a little overgeared for that raid. Also, I looked at Act 2, Gate 2 as well. Combat Power 2000, 2300 as well. Act 3, Gate 2, Combat Power 2300 to 2600. And then Act 3, Gate 3, Combat Power 2300 to 2600. And then I totaled it, averaged it, and then I ranked it. And here are the bottom 8. Combat Readiness Gunnesser at the bottom, as many would have expected. But I don't know, I kind of feel like a lot of Combat Readiness Gunnessers don't really invest into the class to do damage. They just play it for comfort because it is a really comfortable class. Turn on your shield and just tank everything. Oh, whoops. Maybe this. Maybe. Let's do this. Mayhem Berserker that low is criminal. Kara must be doing something wrong. This is Western data, brother. This is from the West. This is Western logs, man. This is... Yeah, I was surprised to see. Anyways, we'll get to that. And then Loyal Companion Sharpshooter. Just, yeah, pretty stable low everywhere in every gate. Kind of feel bad. They might... I have a feeling they're gonna buff this class for sure. And Lone Knight Gunlancer. By the way, if you ask why is Act 3, even though higher combat power, is the DPS lower than Act 2, it's because of raid design. That's due to raid design. Simply due to raid design. Yeah, and Lone Knight Gunlancer also doing pretty low. Ranked 46. But I feel like Lone Knight Gunlancer is similar case to Combat Readiness Gunlancer. They think their role is just to tank or taunt or shield or provide synergy. Some of the Gunlancers that I've played with actually can pump pretty hard. Don't let this data judge the class too much, because if you really try, you can do some damage on this class. And ranked at 45 is Demonic Impulse Shadowhunter. Yep, pretty low and stable. Not typically popping off anywhere. We all know that it's a very sustained class. Safe damage, a lot of paralysis immunity. AT Scouter, ranked at 44. I thought AT would do more damage than this, honestly. Kinda surprised that it's this low. Maybe it's too sustained damage. And ranked at 43 is Pistolier Deadeye. Kinda expected. It's a very no-brainer spammy class. Easy. It kind of made sense to me why it does no damage, but I think that's a little too low. I don't know. Might get some buffs for Kazeros. And then we have the Legacy Scouter, ranked at 42. And then this kind of surprised me. Mayhem Berserker, ranked 41. I was very surprised. Why would Mayhem do like no damage? Too much downtime? No hands? I mean, it is Q3. A lot of high-end Zerkers swap to BT. Same situation with Peacemaker. Huh. Interesting. Problem with Q3 in a lot of classes still include very high amount of handless people. I mean, it's the closest we're gonna get. We can't do ceiling. It's just one single player doing one single number. It's one single number. We can't do ceiling. Q3 is probably gonna be the most reliable indicator that we're gonna get. Whoa, man! Players with hands don't... No, man! No, we don't... No. This is a DMZ zone. This is a peace zone, okay? We don't fire at each other, alright? But ceiling is not one log. It's based on several logs to count what is expected max DPS. The discrepancy between Q3 and ceiling was too big. Like, average DPS here, like ceiling would be like 400 mil. Discrepancy was too big. Yeah, maybe all the berserkers who are like end gear. No, but I sorted by combat power though. That's interesting because I sorted by combat power. And I put a limit here too. Anyways, moving on to the next 5. Ranked at 40 is Perfect Suppression Shadowhunter. I was a bit surprised because I thought this class kind of pumps. But apparently, it's only doing pretty good in Gate 3. And then ranked at 39, Peacemaker Gunslinger. It seems like Peacemaker Gunslinger has pretty low parses if it's not doing very well in Gate 3. But then it's also not doing that well in Act 3, Gate 2 either. Kind of surprised. And then ranked at 38, we got Wind Fury Aeromancer. The class everybody recommends to newbies. But I don't, because it's on the bottom half. And ranked at 37 is Tie Scrapper. Pretty stable numbers here. See, like the thing I noticed is that the classes who are down here, the classes that are down on the bottom half, They're just very stable performance. Pretty consistent performance. But not typically high performance. TIE Scrapper is ranked at 37. And then ranked at 36 is Firepower Artillerist. Doesn't typically do that well in gates that move around a lot. But on a stationary boss, you can see the DPS go up a little bit. Probably because of all the delayed hits. You gotta wait for the missiles to drop, right? Okay, moving on to the next 5. Ranked at 35 is Predator Slayer. I thought Predator Slayer was better than this too. I'm kind of surprised. Again, very stable, consistent performance. BK Breaker, ranked at 34, pops off in Act 2 Gate 1 and in Act 2 Gate 2. But oh my god, that hurts. That hurts to see. This hurts to see. Wow. And then Death Strike Striker. Oh, not Death Striker. And then Death Strike Sharpshooter ranked at 33. Again, pretty stable. But this ceiling being Hitmaster is not that bad. Ranged Hitmaster with this ceiling is not that bad, honestly. And then ranked at 32, we got the Hunger Reaper. Again, a sustained damage class. Back attack class, doing pretty well in Gate 3, Mortem Gate 3. But everywhere else, kind of suffering. And then ranked at 31, we got Pinnacle Glavier. I don't know what's happening. I thought Pinnacle Glavier was stronger than this, honestly. Are all the T-skill getting Bluntthorned or what? I mean, Pinnacle Glavier has a lot of tools, like pretty easy to counter. It's got a parry, pretty mobile. I thought it does more damage than this, honestly. Alright, let's move to the next 5. Now, this is like, I would say average is around this area in terms of DPS. Because, no, actually no, it's still below average, never mind. Ranked at 20. Wait. No, oh, this should have been 30. I got fucking scared. I thought I deleted 10 classes. Ranked at 30 is Drizzle Aeromancer. It's a spec version of Wind Fury. Doing pretty well in Act 2, Gate 1. Yeah, the boss might turn a little bit. Doesn't really move around a lot. And it's kind of easy to predict where he's gonna land. Or where he's gonna position after his attacks. So it's probably pretty easy to cast, pre-cast the strong skills there. On the other hand, Brawl Gate 2, the boss moves around a lot. It's probably very hard to hit all the skills. Same thing here. The boss moves around, disappears a lot. However, even if the boss stays still, the DPS potential is not all there. They might buff this class a little bit, in my opinion. And then we have the Sora Breaker, ranked at 29. This is a front attack stationary class. So, although it might kind of pop off in Gate 3, where positionals don't matter, it's doing really bad in Gate 2 because this boss, you cannot stay in the front. The moth, the thingy will like throw up, which will have these throw up attacks where if you get hit, you get stacks, the bad stacks, the debuffs. So front attack classes, stationary front attack classes gotta move out and you'll probably lose a lot of damage from that. And then we have the BT Zerker ranked at 28. I think the new BT changes they changed a lot, right? The new BT changes, and this is the second week after the bounce patch in the West. So I believe people are still getting used to the new BT build. Berserker technique. But apparently this class is doing really well in Korea, and I think we can expect these numbers to go up in a few more weeks. And then we have the Igniter Sorceress ranked at 27. It's doing really well in Gate 1, Act 2 Gate 1. I'm guessing this is because there's a lot of like DR patterns or objects that you can build meter off of. Then you can burst after the DR phase of the boss is over. So it's doing really well in Brogate 1. However, it kind of falls off in the other raids. And it being a really burst heavy class, it's not doing really well in raids where sustained damage is needed. And here we have, ranked at 26, right above Igniter Sorceress, we have Reflux Sork. Not doing very well in Brogate 1, not doing very well in Brogate 2, not doing typically well in Gate 2, Act 3, Gate 2 either, but doing really well in Act 3, Gate 3. And this, I believe, is because on the Reflux Sorceress, she has a lot of like wide AoE attacks, skills. And because the boss, Mortem, is so big, everything hits. And I believe that's why Reflux Sork is doing really well in Gate 3. The lingering effects. Okay, so the boss is stationary, that's why all the lingering effects hit. I feel like they need to buff Igniter Sorceress a little bit. Like this, with this DPS, I have a feeling Igniter Sork is gonna suffer in Kazeros. Alright, moving on to top 25. Rank 25 is First Intention Wardancer. Pretty stable performance. Doing pretty well in all the gates throughout. First Intent is very spammy class, very swiftness, high APM class. But I don't want to play it. It's too much effort for the output. And then ranked 24 is Esoteric Striker. Honestly, not that bad. From here on, like rank 24 is like the half point, right? 50% point right here, right? Top half, bottom half. Pretty consistent, doing pretty well. Nice performance. And then ranked at 23 is Night's Edge Soul Eater. Doing pretty well throughout too. And then ranked at 22 is Esoteric Wardancer. This is my class, my main. In the middle of the pack. Esoteric Wardancer always in the middle of the pack, no matter what I do, no matter what category I look in, like average, median, what combat power, gear score, whatever I do, Esoteric Wardancer is always in the middle. But I like it. Stable performance. And then we have the Robust Sophist ranked at 21. I believe Robust was pretty strong. Even in Gate 3. Modem Gate 3. But then they nerfed it. And I believe the potential kind of fell off. I think Robust can still burst damage. Kinda. But in sustain, they kind of fell off. Alright, moving on to the real top half. Ranked at 20, we got Emperor Arcana. Again, very consistent performance throughout. And then it's got pretty good potential as well in Gate 3 Mortem. And then at 19, we got the Enhanced Weapon Deadeye. It's a back attack class. I thought Gate 2 of Mortem would be pretty tough for back attack classes. But I guess not. Maybe people are getting used to the patterns more. It's doing pretty well. Back is almost always safe in Gate 2 Mortem. Tauntable. True. Okay. And then ranked at 18, we got Time to Hunt Gunslinger. I think West also just got the changes too. So I believe it's the second week people are still getting used to it. But in KR right now, people think Time to Hunt Gunslinger is popping off. It's OP. It's got pretty stable performance and is doing pretty well in terms of damage potential as well. And then we got the Punisher Slayer. Punisher Slayer popping off in burst friendly raid. Wait, it's not doing that bad compared to other classes. Honestly, I thought Punisher Slayer would be below like a lot of these classes. They're keeping quiet. Alright, and then we have the Full Moon Soul Eater. Burst friendly gate popping off. Kind of falls off in a gate where the boss disappears or moves around frequently. I think the identity generating skills for Full Moon Soul Eater, the animation is too long or something. It feels like it's too long. Or full ticks have to hit on the skills for full meter gen. Maybe that's what's keeping Full Moon Soul Eater from performing in Gate 2 Braille. Same thing here. The boss disappears, moves, and Act 3 Mortem, Gate 3 Mortem, not bad. Not bad for a burst class. Alright, now top 15. We have the Resurrected Surge Blade. Huh. What tricks are Surge Blade pulling off to do this much damage in Gate 1? Narok. They always have tricks up their sleeves. But then it falls off in Brawl and in Gate 2. Act 3 Gate 2 as well because the boss moves around a lot. And they might lose stacks here and there. But then, Mortem Gate 3, the boss doesn't move. Very stationary. After first quarter of the fight, it's always back attack. So we can see them doing pretty well here as well. And then Master Summoner. Another burst class with long animations on the skills. Not doing really well. Well, doing really well in Gate 1, Braille. Not doing well in Gate 2, Braille. Doing decent in Act 3, Gate 2. Doing really well in Act 3, Gate 3. Yeah, her skill animation, just works better on bigger bosses. Like it hits full ticks. So I think we're starting to see a pattern here, no? I think I'm starting to see a pattern here, chat. The more we go up, the more like inconsistent a class performs. Thoughts? I'm starting to see a pattern here. However, Energy Overflow Soul Fist, very consistent in all the gates. Doing really well, very consistent in all the gates. Shock Scrapper as well. Shock Scrapper, very consistent, doing very well in all the gates. I guess the quality of life QOL patch, the QOL balance patch kind of helped Shock Scrappers. And then ranked at 11, Phantom Wild Soul. This is the crit build. QOL is just a straight buff, was it? I thought it was QOL and buff, I guess. And now we're looking at Phantom Wild Soul. Very consistent. Very consistent high performance. But me personally, I don't like this class, so I'm benching it. Alright, moving on to top 10. Barrage Artillerist ranked at top 10. Holy. Doing wonders in Gate 1 in Narok. Probably because you can tank a lot of the attacks that Narok does. Kinda falls off here because once bro moves, you might have to sit up from the chair. Same thing here. Damage potential pretty high, but not that high. But doing pretty well, like consistent but strong DPS. Put him at rank 10. And I was surprised by this. Remaining Energy Blade. We finally found out why Remaining Energy Blades don't get nerfed. It's not like busted. It's not like super busted. Maybe this is a reason. Maybe we just found out the secret to why Remaining Energy never gets nerfed. Remaining Energy Blade doing really well in Brawl Gate 1. Not that well in Act 2 because the boss moves around, turns around, disappears, transports. Same thing. Gate 2. The boss disappears, moves around, turns around. However, damage potential really high on a stationary boss. 361. And this also surprised me. Communication Overflow Summoner. Ranked at 8. Kinda stable performance throughout. And it just freaking pops off in Gate 3. And this got me curious and I looked up some videos of CO Summoner gameplay in Act 3. It hurts your eyes from seeing like all these numbers. There's so many small numbers. It's pretty entertaining to look at. You should look up. And you would know why it's doing really well in Gate 3. But I don't think it's gonna get nerfed because it's doing too well in Gate 3 because it doesn't really do that well in other gates. This is just... Gate 3 is just a very friendly gate for CO Summoner. And I think this really brought up the average. And is why it's ranked at 8. And ranked at 7 is Empress Arcana. I did not know Empress Arcana had pretty consistent performance. Yeah, I thought it was very RNG depending on the cards. And honestly, I thought it'd be higher than rank 6, rank 7. I thought it'd be higher. Okay. And we have here the secret tech Control Glavier, ranked at 6. It's a very spammy back attack class where you have to constantly chase the back of the boss. And you have to land a lot of the hits. So I did not think it would do well in Gate 2. Or Bro Gate 2. But it's doing pretty well. Maybe because of the double spacebar? Is it... Wait, it's not double spacebar. Your spacebar cooldown resets or something and it's like really short to begin with. It's giga quick, so you can chase around the boss really fast. Synergy move to the movement skill? Oh. Oh, okay. I used to play Control easy to back attack. Is it? Okay. Alright, moving on. The top 5. Moving on to top 5. Rage Hammer is top 5. Rage Hammer Destroyer. How is this possible? Destroyer. And then top 4 is Gravity Training Destroyer. Dude, chat, look at this. Look at this. 269 mil average in Bro Gate 2. Look at this. That's insane. But then look at this. It pops off in certain gates, but then it does terrible in certain gates. I think, you know what? I think I kind of understand the random nerfs of GT. Yeah. And ranked at top 3 is Deathblow Striker. Doing pretty well, average throughout. Not average, but average throughout. But it really pops off in Modem Gate 3. Meaning it has really high damage potential. And then rank 2 is Virality Wild Soul. Doing wonders everywhere. Doing wonders every fucking where. This means the class doesn't need some certain conditions to do damage. The damage potential might be a little low, like Trixie and DPS might be a little low, but I guess it doesn't need a lot of like conditions to do damage. And we have at rank 1 Lunar Reaper. What a surprise. They've been hiding so well. What a surprise. Dude, Lunar was so under the radar. Lunar was so under the radar. They've been hiding really well. Those are people with hands. I mean, I got it from the same group. Like, how you gonna explain this? Like, how you gonna explain this? Like, they have no hands? Yeah, look at this. Pretty much top damage everywhere. However, I do want to note that Lunar Reaper is very conditional. In order for you to do damage, you need to land 3 red skills in the back in order to get this buff that makes your 4th hit very like strong. What did they do with the patch, guys, for Lunar Reaper? Did they get rid of like the time constraint? What was the change on Lunar Reaper? Wasn't it QOL? Don't need to do random green skills before reds. Faster T skill, better purple meter gen, remove stacking, can use skills while in persona. Okay. Well, I guess it really worked in Lunar's favor. And congratulations, Lunar Reaper is ranked 1. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations, Lunar. You got first place. Why do I have a feeling Lunar Reapers aren't happy with this? No one plays Lunar? Well, guess what? There is a movement in Korea right now. Reaper invent threads is getting pretty busy. 12 of those is flashy flop. Hey, I know. I'm guessing you're a Lunar Reaper main. Why aren't you happy that your class is doing top damage? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but you have to kind of consider that these people like the raid's been out for a while, and it's people know the patterns, so the skill rotations and positioning is probably pretty much optimized by now. But for a new raid, for a very new raid, I can see that Lunar Reapers might suffer because of the conditions to do damage. Anyways, I made this just for some entertainment. I wasn't trying to expose any class, you know, just got really curious because there's a very high possibility of balance patch that's gonna arrive in a few days. And I was wondering if this data might matter.